Okay, everyone, it looks like I'm live. Okay, just letting everyone know I'm live. It's so nice to be back. I'm sorry for having to reschedule this last week, but I'm so happy to be here with you now. If you're new to the group or new to my world, I am a pain psychologist. I am board certified in biofeedback. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I'm a pain coach. And my mission is really to get critical education out to women everywhere who have chronic pain, things that they may not be receiving in their office visits, and education that empowers them by helping them understand pain better and the things that they can do that are the most effective. Today, we're talking about sleep, which I know is at the heart of many women's experience with pain. And I think, of course, it's such a common experience. And we know that it just really sucks to have insomnia. It sucks to not be able to sleep. So let's just kind of start by acknowledging that really common reality that we do face this. This is common for women, often whether or not you have pain. And as high achieving women, most of you in here, I think, would identify in this way. We often find ourselves juggling multiple responsibilities, striving for excellence in our careers, nurturing our relationships, managing different personal commitments, in addition to managing chronic pain. And of course, these endeavors are always fulfilling, but they can also take a toll on our sleep. And studies have actually shown that insomnia disproportionately affects high achieving individuals, particularly women, again, whether or not they have pain. The pressure to excel, the tendency to overcommit, kind of that perpetual pursuit of perfection, it can really create a perfect storm for sleep difficulties. And then when we add pain to the mix, whether it's from chronic and persistent pain, fear of flare ups, presence of flare ups, or even just temporary ailments, the challenge becomes even more pronounced. So, we are talking today about sleep. We are trying to understand the link between sleep and pain and talk about a few simple strategies that you can apply to help with your sleep. Because not being able to sleep, insomnia, it's not merely a minor inconvenience, it's a significant health concern that can affect every aspect of our lives. And poor sleep not only leaves us feeling groggy and irritable, but it can also impair cognitive function, it can weaken our immune system, and it can exacerbate existing health conditions, including pain. So, why is it important to address sleep? When we improve the quality of our sleep, we can directly impact our ability to manage pain. When we're well restored, our pain thresholds are higher and our bodies are better equipped to cope with discomfort. By prioritizing sleep, we can effectively enhance our resilience and kind of bolster our ability to navigate the challenges that come up. And it doesn't stop there. We know that quality sleep is also essential for cognitive functioning, regulating our mood, supporting our physical health. And when we consistently experience restful sleep, we're better equipped to face those demands of our daily lives and to do it with clarity, energy, and that vitality that we're always looking for. So we know that you know, pain makes it harder to sleep. And we know that lack of sleep makes pain worse. We know there's a link there. We feel it in our bodies. We experience this all the time. But let's talk a little bit about, sort of dive into more specifics around that. Pain and sleep are linked in an intricate way physiologically and psychologically. And so we're just going to talk about the breakdown. We're going to break down some of these key factors. So the first is something called neurological sensitization. So when we experience pain, our nervous system undergoes changes that can actually heighten sensitivity to stimuli, including sensory input during sleep. So I have to drink my tea for those of you who are new. I tend to lose my voice during these live trainings, so I've got my tea here just in case that happens. They can heighten our sensitivity to different stimuli, and this phenomenon known as central sensitization can make it more difficult to fall asleep, stay asleep, and achieve restorative sleep. So when we have pain, again, the nervous system undergoes changes. It heightens our sensitivity to things that might not normally cause us pain, and this makes it more difficult to fall asleep, stay asleep, or achieve that deep restorative sleep. We also know that pain can disrupt sort of the normal sleep architecture, can disrupt the normal progression of sleep stages, particularly that transition from lighter stages to the deeper, more restorative stages of sleep that we need to feel good. And as a result, women may spend less time in those restorative sleep stages, and this leads to more fragmented and less refreshing sleep. Of course, we know that chronic pain is often accompanied by changes in mood, very expected changes in mood. Humans are not meant to be in pain all the time for days and years on end. So, psychological distress, anxiety, depression, ruminating about pain related concerns. These emotional factors can contribute to hyperarousal, and this makes it really challenging to relax and unwind before bedtime. And physiological responses play a role here too. So, pain triggers physiological responses in the body. So, when I say physiological responses, I'm talking about increased heart rate, elevated cortisol levels, and muscle tension. And these physiological changes can interfere with the onset and the maintenance of sleep, but they also create a cycle of discomfort and sleeplessness. Now, individuals experiencing pain can also adopt disruptive behaviors for sleep. So, this could be frequent shifting, waking up to adjust position, going to sleep on the chair instead of the bed. There are different behaviors that can start to come up due to discomfort, which can further fragment sleep and exacerbate sleep difficulties. Now, the issue here is bidirectional. Sleep and pain influence each other. And so, let's talk now about how sleep makes pain worse. So, just as pain can disrupt sleep, inadequate or poor quality sleep can also worsen not only the experience of pain, but the perception of it. So, we'll talk about this. First, we see increased pain sensitivity. So, sleep deprivation or disruption can lower pain thresholds and increase sensitivity to anything that might trigger pain. And this heightened perception of pain can make even mild discomfort feel more intense and challenging to manage. Sleep also plays a crucial role in regulating what we would call pain modulating pathways in the brain. So, when sleep is compromised, these regulatory mechanisms, things that can keep us from feeling as much pain, they can become dysregulated, which leads to difficulties in coping with pain and inhibiting its transmission. So that's impaired pain modulation. We have inflammatory processes. We also know that sleep deprivation has been linked to increased inflammation in the body. Of course, this can exacerbate pain symptoms and contribute to the progression of underlying conditions like arthritis or fibromyalgia. And then altered pain processing is a factor here. Sleep disturbances can affect the brain's processing of pain signals. So, this can lead to disruptions in pain perception, interpretation, and response. And this can result in a heightened awareness of pain and difficulties in effectively managing pain symptoms. And I think when we're talking about sleep for chronic pain, of course, we understand that they influence each other. That influence is not good. We need to get one or the other under control so that we can sleep better. And I think, honestly, the lowest hanging fruit here, or the pieces that are the easiest to change at the beginning, that relate are those that relate to sleep hygiene. This is probably something you've heard before. It's been a bit of a buzzword in the past, but I want to talk to you and lay it out in more detail because sleep hygiene refers to our habits and practices that promote healthy sleep. So I'll walk through some of the main elements of sleep hygiene now, and it's almost like a checklist. So we want to look at the bedroom environment, bedroom routine, lifestyle factors, the sleep environment, daytime habits, managing stress. And let's break these down. So, the bedroom environment or the sleep environment. So, ideally, the bedroom would be dark, quiet, and cool. Comfortable, conducive to sleep. Obviously, we want the room temperature to be cool and comfortable for sleeping. Many individuals would choose to use blackout curtains or eye masks to block out light, earplugs, white noise machines to block out any noise disturbances. We want a mattress and pillows that are supportive and comfortable. And I think people put a lot of pressure on mattresses and pillows, and they're always looking for the perfect pillow. But I think again, there are so many factors here. Having the best mattress or the best pillow isn't going to cure your pain or cure your sleep alone. There's a lot more factors that impact how well we sleep. Keeping electronic devices, if possible, like phones, tablets, televisions, out of the bedroom, or set them to do not disturb or have them off. Obviously bedding and sleepwear that are comfortable, appropriate for this season. And so these are things that sound probably pretty obvious, but it's nice to think of it as a checklist and make sure, am I really following basic sleep hygiene for my sleep environment? And then bedtime routine. Routine here is really important. So, establishing a consistent bedtime routine to signal to your body that it's time to wind down, engaging in relaxing activities before bed, reading, taking warm bath, practicing relaxation techniques, avoiding stimulating activities like watching TV or using electronic devices close to bedtime, or using, those blue light blocking glasses if you read from a tablet. Trying to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. So the routine that you do in the hour or so before bed, especially if it becomes routine, it becomes an event, a signal for your brain, who loves patterns, who loves repetition, that, hey, we'll be sleeping soon. Let's start to get ready for that. And there are things that you can do to create that level of communication to your brain. Lifestyle factors are important here too. So limiting caffeine intake, especially in the afternoon and evening. I know a lot of women who have a no caffeine afternoon rule, or for some that are more sensitive, no caffeine after 11 a.m. Avoiding heavy or spicy meals close to bedtime. These can cause discomfort and disrupt sleep. If our body is busy digesting a large meal that we had before bed, it's going to make it really hard for the parasympathetic system to kick on for us to get some sleep. Engaging in regular physical activity during the day, but avoiding vigorous exercise close to bedtime. And we'll talk more about activity in a little bit. Limiting alcohol consumption. So even though drinking alcohol can help us feel like we fall asleep easier, it can actually interfere with sleep quality and lead to disrupted sleep patterns. Other daytime habits to think about: getting exposure to natural sunlight during the day and darkness at night to help regulate that internal clock in our body. Avoiding napping during the day, especially in the late afternoon or evening. And then limiting screen time before bed. Exposure to blue light from electronic devices, as many of us know, that can interfere with melatonin production and disrupt sleep. Another one, that I think is really important to mention here is just managing stress. So if your stress response is going up, 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 up throughout the day, which it honestly does most of the time, whether or not we want it to, right? It's important to pay attention to the stress levels in your body. So if you were to check in with your body a few times a day, how high is your stress level? How high is your tension? Are you holding your breath or breathing shallowly? These are the physiological responses we want to be thinking about. Checking in with your body a few times a day, notice how your body feels, and then apply something even brief. It could be as much as 2 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing to bring that stress level back down. It'll probably go up because that's the nature of our lives. You'll check in again later and bring it back down. So we want to close that loop, that stress cycle loop, as often as possible. And so, of course, before bed, this is a great time to apply relaxation techniques like deep breathing, a progressive muscle relaxation. There's guided meditations all over the place that are free for this, to reduce stress and promote relaxation before bedtime. Now, I walk through the whole gamut of physiological responses and strategies for turning off that fight or flight response in a really voluntary, intentional way in my course. But I think if you can think about just applying something small a few times a day, and then maybe something as you're falling asleep or as part of your bedtime routine, I think that's a great idea. Keeping a worry journal to write down any concerns or thoughts that could be keeping you awake at night, or scheduling worry time so you can get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper so that it doesn't disrupt your sleep. And then engaging in stress reducing activities, on a regular basis. Things that are great for this are yoga, meditation. They help calm the mind. And some people do this before bed to help them prepare for sleep. And of course, if you try sleep hygiene and you think you've got it down pat, you're doing everything you need to do, and you're still not sleeping well, it's always important to consider seeking help from your healthcare provider or a sleep specialist. Sleep is a really important part of our health, and it's important that this becomes a priority if it continues to be difficult for you. Now, if you had to ask me, aside from understanding the link between pain and sleep, and aside from addressing, the checklist of sleep hygiene, what do I think is the number one thing women with pain can do to get better sleep? And my opinion, and what I've experienced myself and what I've seen happen with, the hundreds of women that I've worked with, is that pacing is a wonderful strategy for improving sleep. And a lot of people don't really think about how the way that they pace their day might impact their sleep. So let me just kind of walk you through it. Often I see women who either fall into a category of being an overdoer. They fall into this overactivity cycle. They push through, they push through, they push through. And then at the end of the day, they crash. Their pain is really flared up and they have really high levels of pain at the end of the day. If you are going to bed and your pain is flared up because you did too much that day, that's going to be really impactful on your sleep. It's going to make it hard for you to fall asleep, stay asleep, and also to achieve those deep stages of sleep. Not only that, if you're uncomfortable or your body's in pain or sensitive, it's going to kind of keep jolting you awake, or just even small bits of arousal could disrupt restful, deeper stages of sleep. And then the other category I see are women who fall into the underactive category. They're really afraid to do anything because it hurts to move. But the problem with this is that when we don't move our bodies at all and when we avoid, we begin to have fear. Our body can also become really deconditioned. We have more muscle tension, more sensitivity, more soreness. And again, this has the same impact on our sleep at night because it's interfering with falling asleep, staying asleep, and maintaining those deep, restful stages of sleep. And so pacing is a strategy that's often used in pain management, and it involves balancing activity and rest to avoid exacerbating pain and fatigue throughout the day. And for women with chronic pain, it can significantly improve sleep quality, and it does this through several mechanisms. First, it reduces pain flare ups. So, when we manage our activity levels, when we avoid overexertion, when we pace, it helps prevent flare ups that interfere with sleep, as I was saying before. So, it reduces pain levels as well. It makes it easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. Will this happen on the very first day that you decide to try pacing? Probably not. But when you pace every day, or on most days, or whenever you can, each day your body becomes less sensitive. Your brain doesn't feel like it has to protect you as much with pain, and you'll start to see that sleep may be something that improves along with your pain and your flare ups. The other mechanism through which pacing can improve sleep quality is by minimizing fatigue. So, we know that chronic pain is so often accompanied by chronic fatigue. Pacing helps individuals manage their energy levels more effectively, reduce overall fatigue. Having less fatigue during the day, of course, we know can lead to more restful sleep at night. And, I think when we're really fatigued and we've pushed through, we're more likely to nap and kind of keep taking bits out of our nighttime sleep. Pacing also promotes relaxation. So when we're doing some sort of structured pacing, this can actually be part of a plan that encourages regular periods of rest, recovery, relaxation, and this can help reduce overall stress and anxiety. Lower stress levels, as we know, contribute to better sleep quality by promoting a more relaxed state that is conducive to sleep. Pacing can often improve sleep hygiene as well. So when we're pacing, part of that, or at least in my program, part of that is establishing routines and rituals. And we know that having a regular bedtime routine can help with consistent sleep. So when we have consistent sleep and wake times and a routine leading up to sleep, it can help regulate the body's internal clock or circadian rhythm, can improve onset of sleep and the maintenance of it as well. Gentle exercise. So again, I mentioned before that not moving at all can lead to a lot of fear, a lot of deconditioning, and a lot of body sensitivity. So incorporating gentle, regular exercise into a pacing schedule can improve sleep as well. Of course, we know exercise helps in releasing endorphins, which can reduce pain. They promote a feeling of well-being, and this can contribute to better sleep. But pacing, when we're doing it intentionally, ensures that exercise is done in a way that does not exacerbate pain. And then, Pacing also teaches women to listen to their bodies because now there's less noise, right? We're being intentional about how we're going through our day. There's less noise, and we can start to make more mindful decisions about our activities. And this cognitive shift can do a lot to reduce anxiety that's related to pain and sleep. And then, as I've seen, as women feel more in control of their condition, then they are less likely to engage in negative thought patterns, either around their pain or negative thought patterns that can disrupt sleep. So, kind of in summary, we know that pacing improves sleep for individuals with pain because it reduces pain levels, it minimizes fatigue, it promotes relaxation, it helps establish regular routines, and encouraging positive cognitive behavioral changes. And this can all collectively contribute to better sleep quality and overall well being. Now, if sleep is a big issue for you and you're looking to address this as part of your approach, to get out of the cycle of flare ups and crashes, you'll love this section of my program. Not only do we talk about sleep hygiene, but I give you the personalized step by step instructions for how to pace your activities and your day. And since your life is unique and unlike anyone else's, it's great to be educated. I know all of you are trying to learn as much as you can about pain. I know that's why you're here. But everything you learn can be so much more effective if someone is walking you through it with personal guidance around that education that you're getting. In my program, I am showing women, how do you apply this education to your unique life? And beyond pacing and sleep hygiene, we talk about other lifestyle, behavioral, psychological, cognitive behavioral, and other changes that can impact pain, as well as an entire workshop on improving sleep. So if this sounds like something you would like to experience or you'd like to learn more about, I encourage you to book a call. I can put a link in the chat for this, in the chat for the presentation, to book a call with me if you want to just talk this through. It's a complimentary, no pressure call. You can comment me also, and I'll see that, and I'll send you a DM, and we can start talking about your pain right away. So let me just get that link really quick in the chat here, and I'm seeing just one question today so far. What are your thoughts on medication for sleep if it has been an ongoing issue for so long? I'm not a physician and I don't prescribe medication, so I can't comment on that in any specific way. I think it's really important, if you've tried all of the things that you can do yourself for sleep, that you talk to your healthcare provider about it and that you try to see if you can get to the root cause of that. So maybe it is kind of sleep and discomfort, pain and discomfort. But there are a lot of sleep disorders that can kind of, be masked by other things. And I think it's really important for you to talk to your healthcare provider about that and get a really good evaluation and investigation of your sleep issues. And for many people, medication may be a part of that, but there are a lot of gold standard treatments for insomnia. For example, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia is really effective as well. But depending on, whether or not you have some sort of diagnosable sleep disorder, otherwise, there may be other treatments that work better than medication or have less side effects than medication. So conversations about medications for sleep should always happen with your doctor. And perhaps, maybe it's temporary as you start to figure out the reasons for, the sleep issues. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Thank you everyone so much for coming today and participating. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for attending as well. I'll see you all at my next live training, and I hope you are kind to yourselves. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.